Please help me reach 1,000 subscribers. Welcome to Cheating Stories with Luna. Hit subscribe and tap the bell so you never miss a new upload. Now let's dive in. I never imagined that the moment he discovered my betrayal would be the instant everything unraveled. Not just our relationship, but the bond one once believed was unbreakable. It happened on a night that began as ordinarily as any other Friday. For weeks, I'd been restless, trapped in a cycle that felt hollow and suffocating. On the surface, everything appeared normal, but inside, I was aching for something I couldn't define. That emptiness drove me somewhere I swore I'd never go. I ended up in a dimly lit bar, sitting across from a man who wasn't my boyfriend, hoping a few stolen hours of attention could drown the guilt clawing at me. His name was Mark. We'd met at a friend's party not long before. There was an immediate pull between us. Not just physical attraction, but a strange emotional ease I hadn't felt in months. Mark actually listened. He made me laugh. He made me feel alive again, and that was dangerous. That night, I lied to myself. I told myself it was harmless, that I just needed a break from my life. That one evening couldn't ruin anything. But life has a way of revealing truth when you least expect it. I glanced at my phone. 3 missed calls. Jason, my boyfriend. I silenced it, pretending it didn't matter. I thought if I ignored him long enough, he'd stop calling. Then the bar door opened. Time froze. Jason stood there, soaked from the rain, staring at me like he'd stepped into a nightmare. His gaze fell on me and Mark. Too close, too comfortable, fingers intertwined as though something intimate had been building for months instead of minutes. Jason didn't yell. He didn't demand an explanation. He just stared, jaw tight, chest rising and falling as if breathing itself hurt him. Then he turned and walked out. I didn't follow, couldn't. I sat there, stunned, drowning in shame. I had been trying to outrun it all. The next day was worse. Instead of fury, insults, or confrontation, Jason sent a single message. Come. Simple. Heartbreaking. I needed time. Please don't reach out. That one text cut deeper than any fight we'd ever had. I knew I'd destroyed everything, yet I still hoped he might fight for us. Instead, the space he demanded became a silence stretching endlessly. Days passed. No calls, no replies, nothing. I tried apologizing, explaining, begging him to listen, but I felt like a ghost in his life. Someone who once mattered, now erased. Weeks later, I heard from a friend that Jason had moved on with someone new. A woman named Claire. Kind, warm, everything I once was before I let loneliness swallow me whole. The news hurt more than I expected. Not because he moved on, but because I finally realized what I'd taken from him. Trust, safety, love. Then came the moment that broke me completely. A month after the bar incident, Jason showed up at my door. I expected rage, accusations, a storm. Instead, he held a small box. Inside was a photo album filled with memories of us. Holidays, anniversaries, random moments, all captured because we were happy. He looked at me quietly. I loved you enough to try, but I can't keep holding on to someone who didn't want to stay. Then he walked away, leaving the album, and a wound that would never fully heal. Life felt empty after that. Every corner of my home reminded me of him. The mug he drank from, his hoodie draped over a chair, the playlist he made lingering on my phone. I couldn't bring myself to throw anything away. I kept replaying that night, asking myself when everything fell apart. Was it the bar, or had our foundation already cracked long before? One evening, I sent a simple message. Can we talk? No response. Another wall I couldn't scale. Later, I learned more about Claire. How Jason seemed lighter, happier, like he'd finally found what he was missing with me. I should have felt relief. Instead, jealousy coiled inside me like a tight knot. Then, out of nowhere, Jason called. Calm, distant. He asked to meet at the park where we'd had our first date. I went unsure what to expect. He sat on a bench, exhausted, yet oddly peaceful. He handed me an envelope. Read this when you're ready, he said, then walked away. Inside was the most painful thing I've ever held. He wrote about how deeply he cared, how my betrayal had shattered something inside him he couldn't repair. But he also wrote about forgiveness, not to rekindle us, but to let go of the resentment consuming him. He hoped I'd eventually forgive myself, too. Those words shattered me in a way no argument ever could. Jason's heartbreak wasn't loud. It wasn't explosive. It was quiet, gentle, final. And that's why it hurt the most. I never got to tell him how lost I'd felt, how my cheating wasn't about someone else, but about running from myself. Perhaps he already understood. His silence spoke louder than any explanation I could offer. I'm sharing this story not for pity, not for excuses, but because some heartbreaks don't explode. They fade quietly, leaving you to sit with your choices and the fragments of what might have been. If I could rewrite the past, I wouldn't just erase that night at the bar. I'd change every step that led me there. Losing Jason wasn't about him catching me with another man. It was losing a future I can never get back. Please help me reach 1,000 subscribers.